Feedback Friday, brought to you by ProWrestlingTees.com, which this week announced their all-new Andre the Giant line of t-shirts. You can see them all right now at ProWrestlingTees.com. And later on, David, of course, we're going to announce the winner of this week's free ProWrestlingTees.com
I don't understand
t-shirt.
this. They're sponsoring the Fish Fry Friday show.
Feedback.
And I get to wear a shirt every week.
Uh-huh.
And they send me a Nelson family shirt?
Well, that's the closeout version.
I hope so.
Do you feel better wearing that?
No,
you should, because you probably are smarter, more easy on the eyes.
No. First of all, I like the color of money green, not kryptonite green. And this actually makes me sick to my stomach.
Damian Nelson sitting alongside Dave Hero, and what we do on this show is talk about your feedback from our broadcast over the course of the last week on YouTube and on Twitter. And let's start with some comments from last Friday's Feedback Friday. The first one comes to us from a user by the name of LinkLex7. It says, and I quote, "I'm not a big fan of Triple H, but I'm worried about him burying Bryan at WrestleMania. People tend to forget that Triple H actually has one of the worst win-loss records in WrestleMania history. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Hunter, but he does put people over at WrestleMania." A rare fan out there who realizes that the reputation, I think, of Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H, may not be as accurate as reality.
Everyone keeps saying he's going to bury. Yes, you know what? Sure, he beat Eugene at SummerSlam when Eugene was white hot. And yes, he derailed CM Punk a couple years ago. But he's been getting the best of... Oh, Phil Brooks, sorry. But he's been getting the best of Daniel Bryan for the last several months, right? Eventually, Daniel Bryan's going to get his revenge. And Daniel Bryan will defeat Triple H at WrestleMania this year.
Thank you for that comment. Let's go on to our next comment from Derek Garcia, who says, with reports of TNA's financial woes and WWE's projected profits off of a WWE network, is there a possibility for a buyout? Is it the McMahon way even before the WCW acquisition? Is there a profit to be made off the TNA video library?
Absolutely not.
Right. What would be the benefit of selling the company or WWE buying the company, because they need competition?
Well, first of all, there's no desire for the video library yet, because they haven't done anything. I mean, there's a semi-load of DVDs in Nashville that were returned.
Yeah.
Vince could buy those for pennies on the dollar if he wanted to. So, but I mean, everyone keeps saying they're going to buy out TNA.
Why do people want that?
It's because it's the trendy thing to say. It really is.
Thank you for that comment. Let's go on to our next one from Dr. Lazaru. You think he's a real doctor?
Of course he is. He plays one on internet. I have a doctorate in opinionology.
This is the comment, the question rather. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't heard either one of you actually purchasing the WWE Network and watching the product. Could you please, if you own it, give a review of how good/bad it is, or whether it's even worth the money? I, of course, was an early adopter, if you will, and have been watching or have been paying for the WWE Network. I've had it available to me, but here's the challenge. While I enjoy the content, while I think it's great to be able to, I think about the Gimmick Battle Royal at WrestleMania 17. Oh, there it is right there. I can just go watch it. That stuff is great, but I want to sit on my couch and watch it on my TV. I want to watch it in a more traditional manner than I do on my devices. Now, here's one key point.
You don't watch it in the tub with your tablet?
No. The Jets would, that'd be a problem. But here's one thing that a lot of people may not know. The NFL Network is doing the same thing, called NFL Now. They're launching a network online. A network just launched in Chicago, a sports network. I believe it's called Network 120 or 160 or something like that, again, online. So WWE has blazed a trail, if you will, with MLB Interactive that I think is really going to be the new wave. And tomorrow night on primetime, by the way, not good news as it pertains to one pay-per-view provider, WrestleMania and WWE, in correlation with the WWE Network. But I think it's a great thing. You can't beat the price, even if I don't ever use it for $10 a month.
You lose that much in your couch every month.
It's there, and I can, and I will. But Am I tuning in to watch NXT on Thursday nights? No. Am I tuning in to watch Raw pre-show, post-show? If I'm free and doing nothing else, I will. But it's not destination programming for me, anything that they're providing on the network so far. And I don't think you've bought in yet.
I have not purchased it yet.
What's your holdout? What are you waiting for?
I'm going to wait for Legends House to start.
Is that right?
And then I'll get it. I want to watch Mean Gene Okerlund.
The Mean Gene?
The Gene Mean, yeah.
Thank you for that comment. Let's go on to our next one, which is from a user on YouTube as well, who says, and that is "We coming for you 20047."
That's creative, isn't it?
That's how it says. Am I the only one who actually believes Daniel Bryan took CM Punk's spot before he left? As a spectator, it seems Bryan is more popular now than Punk was in 2011, and nobody can control the crowd better than Daniel Bryan these days. Not any legend and not any superstar has done it like he does every Monday and Friday, except maybe Hogan and Batista, but in a bad way.
Hogan, Rock, Austin, DX. You know,
Daniel Bryan. You saw what category you just put him in?
I didn't put him in that category. I just said there's those people. Listen, it's because Daniel Bryan is the only person that the fans are cheering for right now.
No, they're cheering for Cody Rhodes.
No, they are not cheering for Cody Rhodes.
They're cheering for Dolph Ziggler.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
The only one that they're cheering.
Is your hearing okay?
It's just fine. They're cheering yes because it's easy to say. It's easy to do. It's the thing to do.
Okay, so why were they cheering what?
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 Because Austin made it popular.
Oh, not because that too is easy to say.
No, Austin did it in interviews first, before the crowd did it.
In a way that he knew it would catch on.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he absolutely did.
Do you know the story of what?
No, tell us the story of what, David.
The story of what?
You can further bury Daniel Bryan.
I'm not going to bury Daniel Bryan. He's a tremendous superstar.
Except people only cheer for him because it's easy.
It is easy. It's a 3-letter word.
Easy is actually a
Christian left Steve Austin a voicemail.
Uh-huh.
And as he was leaving the voicemail, he kept saying, what? Having a conversation with himself in the voicemail. And that's where it all picked up and started from. So if that voicemail never happens, there's no what chant, there is no what t-shirts, there's no what action figures. But stop. Daniel Bryan is the most popular guy on Monday Night Raw because there's nobody else to cheer for. Who is there to cheer for? Who else does the crowd get behind besides John Cena? And they boo and cheer him every week.
Get behind the Shield. You get behind the Wyatts.
But if the Wyatts or the Shield had some catchphrase, they'd be doing that also. You know I'm right.
No, you're not right at all. You're diminishing the popularity of Daniel Bryan by saying people only cheer for him because it's easy.
Yes is an international word. The only one that's easier is no. Anyone can say yes.
You can't say yes to Daniel Bryan's
success. I just can't say no. That's the problem.
Thank you for that comment. Let's get on to some comments made on last Saturday's Primetime, our 16th anniversary edition of Primetime. First one comes from a user on YouTube by the name of SN1281.
Did you edit this one first? I'd prefer you use either cashews or pistachios.
And I quote, "Time to get off WWE's macadamias, guys. They made this stipulation for Bryan last minute and out of desperation. Yes, they are doing the right thing now, but they waited too long, in my opinion, to announce it. Therefore, it was obviously a last-second thing and not their original plan."
Doesn't make a difference. As long as they get what they want, who cares?
But
it's like the binary scale. It's either you do it or you don't. It's either a 1 or a 0.
It doesn't make a difference, but the fans want to take credit for this, so fine. Take credit for it. Super.
Sure.
It's all you. It's everything you did. WWE never in their wildest dreams thought that they would be putting Daniel Bryan in the main event at WrestleMania. They never in their wildest dreams thought that they would keep him out of the Royal Rumble so that you would want him to be a bigger star. They never in their wildest dreams thought that giving him the WWE Championship for a day last year was the thing to do to keep you more engaged in this ultimate storyline that was developing. Fine, believe all that. Sure, that's exactly what happened. This was a mistake. 2 weeks ago, it was a mistake. They said, oh shit, we got Daniel Bryan still on the roster. What are we going to do with him for Mania? Let's put him in the match with Triple H, and then let's put him in the main event match where he will likely walk out with the WWE Championship.
Or what?
It's irritating. If all you want is to take credit for it, fine, take credit for it. But ultimately, the fans have to take credit for everything because it's who you do cheer for and who you don't cheer for that gets the push. And people didn't just start cheering for Daniel Bryan. Miami, Florida, 2 WrestleManias ago, they started cheering for Daniel Bryan.
You know, the first time I heard the yes chant, I wasn't watching the TV in Miami, you know? I thought there was a soccer game on. Because that sounds like a soccer chant, doesn't it? Yes?
Thank you for that comment. Next comes from Jason DeBoer, who says, and I quote, with all the news and rumors circulating about Sting finally debuting with the WWE, what debut option do you think would be better? A, Sting makes his debut on Raw following WrestleMania, or B, Sting debuts at WrestleMania. Personally, I think Sting should debut on the grandest stage of them all. Imagine if Sting were to make a surprise debut in the 30-man Battle Royal. Ring fills with 29 guys, everyone's waiting for number 30, music hits, and down drops Sting, and the Battle Royal begins. Talk about a WrestleMania moment for the ages, hashtag Feedback Friday from Jason DeBoer.
Well, that would be amazing, but let's face it, ever since Owen Hart, no one's coming down from the rafters, especially at a WrestleMania. You know, but where's this connection with Sting and Andre the Giant?
I don't know if there needs to be.
You know, and they haven't decided if the Battle Royal is going to be on the pre-show or on the main show. I can see it. I would like to see that. But is Sting going to be in WWE ring shape for something like that?
He did. Sting celebrated her birthday just today, actually. No, yesterday. He turned 55 years old. But he did say in a recent interview over in the UK or a Q&A session that he did want his last match to be with The Undertaker.
Well, it's good to want things.
So,
but you got to figure that's a year from now. That puts him at what, 56?
Good job, David.
Well, you know.
Good job. Wow. You know. Now, can you spell it? F-I-F. Now, it was option A, Raw the next night. B,
first of all, the reason
Battle
I can't
Royal.
spell it, I was in when Robbie E was teaching math class, and that was a disaster. You know, he used to be a teacher.
I would much rather see him on Raw the next night.
Robbie E?
Can you focus? Sting.
I have that 80.
Question. Feedback Friday.
Yes.
We're answering our fans' feedback.
You know what? If they're going to really build the Sting and Taker, then you know what? Sting should come in and he should win that Battle Royal. Because now he's being reintroduced to a whole new audience of wrestling fans that don't know who Sting is.
You're still on that train, huh? It's rare in WWE we see a return, debut, what have you, on a pay-per-view.
No one has ever seen Sting in a WWE ring before.
That is a fact.
And there's so many new fans out there that don't know who Sting truly is.
Well, they have the network, though.
Yes, they do have the network, but not all the kids are watching Sting matches on the network.
So were these fans, call it 7 years ago, or have we turned over since then?
We've turned over.
Since then?
Absolutely.
So how'd they recognize Brock Lesnar?
He's been in UFC.
By your logic, they wouldn't know him.
He's been in UFC.
Okay. So how'd they recognize Batista? It's been 4 years.
Maybe they didn't recognize him, but they had all the promos leading up for it. He was being reintroduced with vignettes.
Which is why, to the point of, it's very rare to have someone debut or debut on a pay-per-view, because you don't have that opportunity. Congratulations go out to Jason DeBoer, who is this week's winner of a free T-shirt, courtesy of ProWrestlingTees.com. We'll be reaching out to you shortly to explain to you how you can win, and all of you have a chance to win a T-shirt by simply commenting on our videos or using the hashtag Feedback Friday or PWR TV on Twitter.
It's Fish Fry Friday.
Actually, it's Feedback Friday.
It is.
If you want to look just over to your left there, you'll see that.
Oh, I'll be damned. When did you get those?
Next comment comes from Sharhain Badri, who says, and I quote, "Really, Damian Nelson, you don't know who else has a bigger chant than the yes chants? The Goldberg chant."
Who?
I made a comment last week on Primetime that since Stone Cold Steve Austin, there has not been a star who has resonated with the audience as much as Daniel Bryan has.
Goldberg, some of his stuff was piped in.
And he wasn't since Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right.
Since Stone Cold Steve Austin. Some people even said, how dare me, The Rock was big. Since Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You have been really heated this week. You
I'm
need
not
to
heated.
back down a CC
I'm giving feedback on a Friday.
You just relax, my man. It's not worth it.
So yes, I will restate, there has not been a star since Stone Cold Steve Austin who is as popular with the audience as Daniel Bryan is. Next comment comes from Michael LaGrange, who says in reference to last week's Primetime, and I quote, "This was the best episode of Primetime since I discovered you guys 7 years ago. Having the crew back together and all the one-liners and inside jokes just made it better. I can never get enough. Please bring your dear friend Meathead and Kaz back more often. They make the already awesome team of Dave and Damian that much better." Thank you very much for that comment. It was a fun show last week.
We can't afford the Kaz and Meathead every week.
The Kaz does have a high dollar contract.
His
with no bumps.
And then Meathead has all those like green M&Ms in the yellow room. That's ridiculous.
And a comment also from Twitter, at PWR Show on Twitter. This came from at Real Haney, who says, do y'all think WWE should start factions like the Four Horsemen or something like Evolution?
They have 2 right now.
Shield and Wyatts.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes.
Sure.
That is today's edition of Feedback Friday. And again, as we said, everybody has a chance to win a free t-shirt courtesy of ProWrestlingTees.com. Have you seen those Andre the Giant shirts, by the way?
They are fantastic.
Dre. It's like Andre the Giant. He's got a necklace around his neck that says Dre. You can see it on the screen there. But some good stuff, again, at ProWrestlingTees.com. Tomorrow night, David Hero, it's a big episode of Primetime. We are going to be welcoming another guest into the studio tomorrow night.
It didn't go well for you last time.
You know what? It did not. But we've talked. Things are good. We've established some ground rules.
Just make sure he's well fed. Everything's going to be fine.
You're supposed to take care of that.
That's my job?
Yeah.
Can I have the MX?
The Monster Abyss will be here in this very studio tomorrow with us on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, as well as the entire week of wrestling in review, coming tomorrow night on My24 Milwaukee and streaming on YouTube.com and PWRshow.com as well. So in the meantime and in between time, take care of yourselves. Don't take care of yourself.
Thanks.
For that one. Do I really?
You need me.
For that one, this is Damian Nelson saying we'll see you tomorrow night on Primetime with the Monster Abyss.